Let's look at the surface area of a cube. So a cube consists of 6 faces where each face is a square, and so each of the edges on a cube are the same length. And we can generalize this by labeling the length of each edge of a cube as x. And so if we look at the net of a cube, we have 6 faces in total where each of these are squares, and we have a length and a width of x. So to work out the area of this first square, we would do x times x, which gives us x squared. And likewise, if we wanted to work out the area of the next square, we would do x times x, which is x squared. Since all of the squares have the same length and the same height, then the area of each of the squares would be exactly the same. And so therefore, we would have a total surface area for the cube of 6x squared. Since we have 6 squares here, each square has an area of x squared. So if we do 6 times x squared, we get a surface area of a cube which equals to 6x squared, where x is the length of one of the edges on the cube. Let's look at some examples. So the first example says work out the surface area of the cube, and we have a cube here where one of the edges has a length of 3 centimeters. So if we wanted to work out the surface area of this cube, we'll call it SA. Then we can use our formula here, 6x squared, where x is the length of one of the edges on the cube. And so in this case, we have that our x equals to 3 centimeters. And so substituting this into our formula, we have that the surface area equals to 6 multiplied by 3 squared. And so if we work this out, 3 squared is equal to 9, 9 times 6 is equal to 54. And so we have a surface area of 54 centimeters squared. We have squared units since we've calculated an area. The second example says to work out the surface area of the cube, where we have a cube with a volume of 64 centimeters cubed. Now the volume of a cube, we'll call it V, is equal to the length times the width times the height. And since in the case of a cube, the length, the width and the height are all the same, we can generalize this and say that the volume equals to x times x times x. And so we can simplify this to give us that the volume equals to x cubed. And so in this example, since we know that the volume of the cube is 64 centimeters cubed, we can equate it to x cubed. So we have 64 equals to x cubed. And so to work out x, we need to take the cube root of both sides. So the cube root of 64 is equal to x. So that's a number that times itself 3 times to give us 64. And so the cube root of 64 is equal to 4. Since 4 times 4 is 16, times 4 is 64. And our units here would be centimeters, since x represents a length. Now to work out the surface area of the cube, we can use our formula, which says that the surface area is equal to 6x squared. And so in this case, we know that x is equal to 4 centimeters. So if we substitute this in, we have the surface area equals to 6 multiplied by 4 squared. 4 squared is 16. 16 times 6 is 96. And so we have that the surface area equals to 96 centimeters squared. The last example says to work out the height of the cube, where the cube has a surface area of 80 meters squared. So in this case, we can use our formula for the surface area of a cube. And so we have 6x squared equals to the surface area, which in this question is 80. And so to solve for x, we would divide both sides by 6 to give us x squared equals to 80 over 6. And so to work out x, we would take the square root of both sides. So x equals to the square root of 80 divided by 6. And if we put this in a calculator, we get x equals 3.65 meters to 2 decimal places. And so this length represents the height of the cube.